Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Patrick Henz. I welcome you to another episode of Data-Driven Formula One. And today we have a special topics, and you can see it here. No, we're not speaking about touring cars. We stay with Formula One, but we're speaking about Martini Racing with focus on Formula One. I mean, they did rally, touring cars, powerboat racing, but our focus will be, of course, on Formula One. So we will speak about the typical Martini livery, the dark blue, light blue, the celeste, together with the typical Italian red. But also we will underline that this is not just a livery, so not just a sponsoring, but there had been more around it, and that will be today's topic. And let's dive in. And here you see already the Martini's first time in Formula One with a small Italian team. But before we come to this, we speak about Martini in general. And this will be a trip quite into the past. In 1847, Clemente Michel, Carlo Re, Carlo Agnelli, and Elio Baudino founded the company as a vermouth bottling plant in Pessione. A few years later, Alessandro Martini joined the team and, in 1863, became the director alongside Teofilo Sola and Luigi Rossi, the creator of a vermouth recipe. So interessant, when we speak about Martini Rossi, it's not just the color, but also related to the founder and the creator of the recipe, Luigi Rossi. The same year, the company was renamed to Martini, Sola, and Scia, marketing the beginning of the global vermouth exports. In 1892, Luigi Rossi's four sons took over the business, with control later passing to his grandsons in 1930. The iconic Martini Ball and Bar logo was officially registered for the first time in 1929. So this is the logo, which also is, of course, base for the Martini Racing livery. A major restructuring in 1977 led to the formation of the General Beverage Corporation. In 1992, Martini and Rossi merged with Bacardi. According to a 2006 market survey, Martini was ranked as the world's fourth most powerful spirit brand. Speaking about the drink itself, Martini is made from four ingredients: wine, botanicals, sugar, and alcohol. First produced had been Martini Rossi in 1863, so the red version. Quite interesting, I always thought the original had been the white, but no, the Rosso was first. Before then, in 1900, Martini Extra Dry was launched, and in 1910, Martini Blanco. In opposite to this, as you may mix it up with the Martini cocktail, in opposite to this, the Martini cocktail is made with gin or vodka and vermouth, then garnished with an olive. So this is the typical James Bond Martini. In 1970 and 71, Martini and Rossi organized the Ladies Football World Championship, an event independent from the FIFA or any other national soccer associations. Interesting, quite early sports engagement started before they joined racing. And interesting that they targeted first the female ladies world championship before they went into racing. Martini Racing is the name used by various motor racing teams when sponsored by Martini and Rossi, the Italian distillery known for producing Martini vermouth in Turin. The company's sponsorship program began back in 1958 under the name Martini International Club, founded directly by Count Metello Rossi, the Montelera of Martini and Rossi. The race cars were adorned with the brand's signature dark blue, light blue, like the Argentinian Celeste, and red stripes, typically set against a white or silver background, so red or green variations were also used, and in fact, we will see this today as we saw this in Formula One. Count Teofilo Teo Guiscardo Rossi de Montelera, Prince of Premuda, the full name. He was born in 1902 and died. Yeah, he nearly became 90 years old in 1991 November. He was an Italian bobsledder, so a sportsman. Bob, yeah, no motorsports, but also, of course, very fast sport. So he always had been fascinated by speed, we can conclude. He competed in the early 1930s. He was the heir of the Rossi family, a wealthy dynasty of distillers known as the Kings of Vermont and partners in the Martini and Rossi Company. Martini and Rossi continued the tradition of sponsoring offshore powerboating teams and events long after Rossi's passing up to today. He personally won the 1934 World Championship for 12-liter boats in a series of events in Europe and America. In 73, Rossi again won the World Championship, which included a victory in the President's Cup regatta in Washington, D.C. 1 year later, he won the American Powerboat Association's Gold Cup in Detroit, Michigan, with his boat, the Alagi. Unfortunately, I cannot show you this photo due to the rights, but if you look a little bit in the internet and you are interested, you can see the Alagi. The World Championships race concept dates back to 38, and it was initiated by Count Theo Rossi, the owner and driver of the Alagi boat. Rossi proposed a multi-race format for the European 12-liter class, equivalent to the American Powerboat Association's Gold Cup class, which later evolved into the unlimited class post-World War II. This motorboat racing had been really popular at that time, so no surprise that he was active here, especially if you're having a wealthy background. Rossi's vision included 4 races to determine the world champion based on total points. The series would feature events in Paris, Venice, and in the US at the Detroit Gold Cup and the President's Cups in Washington, D.C. Ultimately, Rossi's boat was the only one to compete on both sides of the Atlantic, something which we saw also in early Formula One. Due to very limited budgets, European teams did not travel to the American events, mostly the Indiana 500. Of course, there had been also other points included, as you would have to adapt the car to this one-time event. And the US teams participating at Indianapolis did not travel to Europe, even if if all events had been part of the official agenda of the Formula One World Championship. Later, we saw this also that, for example, teams did not travel to the events later in Canada and Mexico to save money. But Rossi had the budget and he participated at both parts of the Atlantic. The Alagi, powered by the 12-cylinder Isotta Fraschini aircraft engine, secured victories in 3 of the 4 races, effectively claiming the World Championship by default. Undeterred, Rossi proposed a revised format for 1939, reducing the series to 3 races: Venice, Detroit, and Washington, D.C. While Alagi triumphed in the Venice race, it was unable to compete in the United States this time. The escalating war crisis in Europe prevented Rossi from obtaining a visa to leave Italy. Logically, because they had been on different sides of the war. But with this, let's jump in directly to Formula One. Martini Racing's involvement with Formula One started in 1972 with the Italian team Tecno. However, disagreements between Rossi and the team owners regarding technical and sporting strategies led to an uncompetitive car, promoting Martini to withdraw its support after the disappointing 1972 and 1973 reasons. So this the slide overview, and now let's see the beginning of Martini Racing more in detail. Tecno began as an engineering company in Bologna, specializing in the production of hydraulic pumps. In 1961, the company's owners, brothers Luciano and Gianfranco Pedersani, chose to venture into motorsport by becoming kart constructors. In 1966, Tecno moved to the Italian Formula 3 Championship. In 1967, Clay Regazzoni won in Spain, and Tecno achieved victory in 32 of the 65 Formula 3 races. If you're interested in the Swiss driver Clay Regazzoni, later becoming famous as a Ferrari driver, we have a special episode about him. Tecno was the first company to design an offset, also known as Sidewinder, car chassis leveraging the newly developed air-cooled rotary engines produced by Parilla. In 1970, Clay Regazzoni won the Formula 2 championship together with the Tecno team. So quite young team, quite successful right in the beginning in the lower classes, Formula Kart, Formula 3, Formula 2. So Formula 1 was a logical next step. Tecno's achievements in junior Formula racing caught the attention of Count Teofilo Guiscardo Rossi de Montelera, who joined forces with the Perazzani brothers as partner and the title sponsor to develop a Formula 1 car and engine. Quite ambitious for a small and young team to develop both the chassis, the car, and an own engine, which normally only had been done by the bigger teams, such as Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, and often the small teams, like for example, Zakspeed, they struggled with such a task. Nevertheless, this was the idea by the Tecno team together with the Martini Corporation. The team opted for a red chassis, paying tribute to the enduring tradition of Italian racing teams, using the iconic color while also aligning with the preferences of their title sponsor. For the case you are seeing us here on YouTube, YouTube Music or Spotify in the video version, you see here the images. If you have the possibility and you're just at the audio podcast, please check out the video podcast, as we always try to show photos, images, statistics, which underlines a little bit what we are telling you. So here, most famous had been the white Martini racing cars. Nevertheless, same as with the drink itself, first had been the red one, as this 1972 Tecno PR 123, as you will see it. The engine at flat 12, designed by Luciano Pedersani, Renato Amaroli, and Giuseppe Bocchi, bore a striking resemblance to Ferrari's contemporary unit, but was reportedly significantly less powerful. I mean, no surprise that as a benchmark, you took the Ferrari engine, which was quite successful at that time, and of course, it was the local solution, and Bologna not that far away from Modena. So 1972, we had drivers, Nanni Gialli, who had been also driving the McLaren with the Alfa Romeo engine. He became more successful later in endurance race, also with the Alfa Romeo sports cars. But in 72, he was one of the two drivers. And this is another interesting point. A lot of often in these times, small teams just focus on one driver, but Tecno Martini Racing had two, Nanni Galli and Derek Bell, who would also later join, for example, Brabham and McLaren, so quite a famous name. Next year, we have the Tecno 123 in the B version. As you see it here on the photo, a little more edgy, quite sign of the times. And this time, the team really just focused on one driver, understandable when you have a limited budget and maybe you still had to focus on developing a car to become competitive. And so first results had been quite promising. In 72, Nanni Galli finished one race on the 13th position. Chris Amon finished the Belgian Grand Prix on the 6th position, so he get into the points. And the Canadian GP, he finished at also on the 10th position. No points, but respectful result for such a small team. So that's the first 2 years, and you see the official name had been Martini Racing, not only as the title sponsor, but really they had high influence in developing the car and bringing techno into Formula One. Even if techno as a team is highly forgotten nowadays, they had quite interesting drivers, Nani Gallo, Derek Bell, or Chris Amon. In 1973, significant disagreements arose between the Pedersani brothers and Rossi and George regarding the team's sporting and technical direction, leading to an irreparable split. The Pedersani favored signing the promising young driver Clay Regazzoni, while Rossi and team manager David York preferred the experienced Chris Amon, who had failed to secure a deal with March Engineering for that season. Compounding the rift, York and Rossi enlisted designer Gordon Fowell to create a new chassis, the PAE 371, while the Pedersani brought in Al McCall to develop a separate car, the PR 103/B. Due to the internal turmoil, Techno missed the early season's races, but finally debuted the McCall Touring car at the Belgian Grand Prix, where Chris Amon secured 6th place, earning the team's first and only point. The car showed promising potential in its second appearance at the challenging Monaco circuit, where Amon qualified 12th, ahead of Jackie X Ferrari, and ran strongly in the upper midfield for 25 laps. Nevertheless, the team's struggles became unsustainable as they tried to compete with two underfunded and underdeveloped cars while sharing limited resources. By the Austrian Grand Prix, ongoing conflicts between the Pedersani brothers, York and Rossi, led to a frustrated Chris Amon leaving to join Tyrrell. Tyrrell, of course, quite famous, successful at that time. Although the Pedersanis had planned to develop an 8-cylinder engine for the next season, they ultimately decided to shut down their Formula One program. In total, Rossi took the Martini and Rossi sponsorship to Brabham in 1975 and later founded Martini Racing as an organization to systematically focus on motorsports. Disillusioned by the toxic environment within the team, in 1973, Luciano and Gianfranco Pedersani retired from motorsport altogether. So that's end of chapter 1, so to say. Again, you see here, this is the car favored by the Pedersani brothers, the Techno PR 123, sorry, in the A version, the original version. While here you see the PRE 371, the car favored by Martini Racing. You see, we're speaking here really about complete different designs, philosophies. The first maybe still look a little bit like a bigger go-kart, while the new one like a more simple version of the successful Formula One cars of that time. Of course, having two completely different cars, different philosophy, especially at a small team, could not work out. I mean, it even would have destroyed bigger teams, but clearly for such a small team as Martini Racing / Techno, this was the end, as it was not sustainable. So Martini Racing took the money to Brabham, and same as with Techno, Brabham now started officially under the name of Martini Racing, and now we have maybe the more famous livery, the dark blue, light blue, red stripes on a white car, as we see it on the Brabham Ford BT44B, driven by Carlos Reutemann and Carlos Paz. Argentinian and Brazilian driver setup. If you're interested in the drivers about each, we have a separate episode. Just scroll through our episode and you find them there. Very interesting characters, drivers, very successful, both. Unfortunately, they had the talent. No, not luckily they had the talent, but unfortunately they never won the championship. So we discussed also why in these special episodes. Nevertheless, quite successful. Brabham fought, or Martini Racing, better said, as a team. Well, no, not as a team, as the constructor. Brabham fought won the second position in the championship, and Carlos Reutemann third position, and Carlos Pace fifth position. And due to many fans, one of the most beautiful car designs, this clear edge-shaped Brabham Ford, as you see it here, together with the high air intake and, of course, the famous Martini livery. Next year, also the cars, you see here the red livery. Not as successful. They switched to Alfa Romeo engines. Due to my understanding, this engine transfer was also financed, maybe supported by an Italian main sponsor. Financing was less a problem because Alfa Romeo practically gave it for free or for very, very few costs, as they wanted to push the brand also in Formula One after being successful already in the sports car championship. Nevertheless, not that successful as in the beginning of the 1950s. Fifth position for Brabham Alfa Romeo as a constructor. Carlos Reutemann, third position. No. The 16th position with 3 points, and a little bit better this year, Carlos Pace, 14th position with 7 points. One of the big problems not was the speed of the car itself, but the reliability. Also, we had guest drivers who drove a third car, like German Rolf Stommelen, who did it, I think, in Germany, the German Grand Prix, where he, as a new driver, already got 1 point, and Lenny Perkins, who did it at another Grand Prix. On the right, you see here the red livery with the Rolf Stommelen driving the car. Next year, Brabham again started as Martini Racing, fifth position in the championship as constructor, Brabham Alfa Romeo. Best driver, the German Hans-Joachim Stuck before, John Watson, yep, known name for Martini Racing, and Carlos Pace, who had unfortunately his tragic accident, the fatal accident, but nevertheless still 6 points for him at the end of the championship. Giorgio Francia had also been driving once. He was more like a test driver, like a race engineer for Martini Racing and Alfa Romeo, something which he did much later in the 1970s also for the Alfa Romeo touring cars, the one I showed you before. Brabham switched then to Parmalat. Parmalat financed also the salary of the new driver, Niki Lauda, and also Martini worked on and teamed up with Lotus, same as before, as main sponsor. Lotus started officially as the Martini Racing team. Quite successful. Lotus fought as a constructor on the fourth position in the championship, and driver Carlos Reutemann, who stayed with Martini Racing seventh, and Mario Andretti 12th position. So the team quite successful. The drivers maybe a little bit behind expectation. And here you see the dark green Martini Racing livery. I think it's the only time where we saw this color combination. Quite interesting. Also quite aesthetic. I mean, I have it a little bit here on my smartphone or my iPhone. You cannot see it that good in the camera. It's a Martini white case with on a dark green iPhone. So you may say I have the famous 1970 Martini Racing here. After this, we have for time to say goodbye to Martini Racing. In 2006, Martini came back to Formula One, but not as a main sponsor, but as a smaller or medium-sized sponsor at the successful Ferrari team, even though 2006 Michael Schumacher was not able to repeat his victory, only second position, and Felipe Massa, second driver, on the third position. And in total, Ferrari, the team, came up in the Constructors' Championship on the second position. 2007, still with Ferrari, and not again, I think for the first time, successful Martini Racing as part of the winning team. Ferrari, as a constructor, won the championship, and Kimi Räikkönen, 110 points, very last-minute victory for him in the championship. And second driver, Felipe Massa, on fourth position. And again, you see Martini Racing. Hopefully, you can see it on the photo quite in front on the nose of the Ferrari. 2008, again, Constructors' Championship for Ferrari, and drivers Felipe Massa, about whom we also have a special episode. If you're interested in Felipe, check out our videos about Kimi. We don't have yet. I'm sure in the future there will be also a data-driven episode about him, as he was a great, fascinating driver and, of course, a character. On the photo, you see again the small Martini Racing. Practically, it's not the Martini Racing, it's the normal Martini logo on the nose of the Ferrari. Then, happily, the return of Martini Racing in 2014. And now the name was officially Williams Martini Racing. Third position in the championship with Valtteri Bottas. And I see another Martini driver, Felipe Massa, who switched from Ferrari to Williams Mercedes. So practically he stayed, he didn't stay, but he returned to the Martini logo. So we see here again the classic and white Martini Racing design. Very beautiful car, of course. Also next year, Williams Martini Racing stayed as partners. Again, third position, very strong for Williams with their known drivers Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa. The very similar classic Martini Racing livery on the car. 2016, the results for Williams slowly start dropping. Only fifth position, well, still fifth position, but yeah, it's slowly Williams started its decline. Valtteri Bottas on eighth position, and Felipe Massa only able to reach the 11th position. 2017, Martini Racing, or Williams Martini Racing, again, fifth position. And here we already seeing going away from the classic Martini livery, maybe also here, but to local alcohol laws. I'm not sure in which country this photo was taken, but as we don't see any Martini logo, I may imagine it was one of the countries where it is forbidden to have marketing advertising for alcohol. Felipe Massa, 11th position, second driver, Lance Stroll. And we had also one race by Paul Di Resta, but no points for him. Then again, next year, and as I said, Williams did unfortunately in declines, only 10th position in the as constructor, together with the Mercedes engine drivers, Lance Stroll, 18th, and Russian Sergei Sirotkin, 20 points. And as you see here, this decline had been caused by financial problems and, of course, leads to financial problems. So we had here two paid drivers, and you may say they hadn't been able to give the required feedback back to the engineers, which you need to develop the car. And again, this also further continuing the downfall of the team. Nevertheless, just on the photo, beautiful classic Martini livery on a white car. Even if it wasn't the fastest, yes, still very aesthetic. That's it so far regarding Formula One. Some fun facts. First of all, a great marketing campaign. Martini Racing had one campaign where you could win to spend a night in a Formula One garage, sleeping with all in a Martini bed together with whomever you wanted to invite. You see beautiful Martini posters in the background. You see the clean Williams garage. Don't know if you slept a lot, but I think quite interesting marketing campaign. And also another return Lancia to the rally sport. Here you see the new Lancia Y as it was presented to the press. And this car, you see here the number, the new Lancia logo together with the years when they won the rally championship, the famous red elephant HF version for the rally sports, how they want to motivate people to participate, maybe also to sponsors. And quite interesting here, the livery which they have, it is not Martini related. I mean, officially it's not Martini related. It's not sponsored by Martini Racing. Lancia had been very successful with Martini Racing, and that's the reason I think why they somehow copied the Martini livery, not having the dark blue, the red, the light blue, but a dark red, a lighter red, and very similar stripes. So of course, if you see this car, it reminds you to the Lancia Delta winning teams for years, having the Martini Racing livery, but it's just a copy, and it should attract investors, and maybe Martini Racing will be one of the investors. So maybe the real rally car will have then the originally Martini livery again. Okay, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you learned something and you see Martini Racing not only as a sponsor, a main sponsor, but really a company which was highly involved and also took, at least in the beginning, a techno business decisions similar to a team manager, something which, of course, on a higher level we see today at Red Bull, where Red Bull, of course, originally coming from the energy drink, but also have sports as one of their business areas, independent, if it's extreme sports, Formula One, football, where they have a very professional management to not use this only as a sponsoring for the energy drink, but have this also profitable itself. Okay, if you like it, please follow our channel, independent where you are, YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast catcher. You always can follow us. If you like this episode, hope give it a thumbs up, a like, and hope to see you next time when we will speak about another fascinating topic related Formula One. Thank you. Bye bye.